Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Smoky Mountain Park Rangers. This is a 42-minute documentary from this year, from 2021. It's very new. It came out in the last few months. You know how I add new items once a quarter, once every 3 months to my list that I randomly pick from, and this showed up in the last 3 months in either. What is this? Today's October. It's in October, so yeah, it was July, August, September. It showed up around there. So anyway, the name is pretty self-explanatory. It follows the lives, well, not the lives, but the work that the Smoky Mountain Park Rangers handle. And the Smoky Mountains, if you don't already know, they're in Tennessee. Well, they make, it's where were made. There's plenty of songs written about it. Let's just say Tennessee, North Carolina area. Has a very unique look. It's just gorgeous, and it's full of animals, not the least of which is a black bear. I think they have the largest population of black bears in the world. I think there's also elk and foxes and I think wolves and just endless amounts of other creatures. Some that may not even have been fully documented yet, but there's a large group of people that handle big sections of the national park area and do their best to manage the animals so that they are not harmed and do not do any harm to those, because humans are dumb, sometimes dumber than the animals. They overreach. They want to see the pretty animals. Yes, I understand that. See them in their natural habitat. But the thing is, you get them at the wrong time. Well, there's really not a time when they're not hunting for food and they're not eating. Uh, when they're hungry and you start offering them food, they kind of get used to it. They see one guy with Snickers and they figure, oh, well, when he's gone, the next person might have a Snickers too. But if you don't, they'll happily take your arm. Either way, it's something that you just don't want to do. You don't want to feed the bears. They've warned you about this at Jellystone with Yogi and Boo Boo for decades now. So yeah, that applies to uh, Smoky Mountain parks as well. These guys, you get to see how they handle the elk that are just about as ornery, even more so in some cases than the bears. Bears are fairly, nice, unless you kind of get in the way of their food. But yeah, there's way too many times in this 42 minutes where they're trying to do their job, and human beings with their cameras and their kids, or their four-wheel trucks, and their gigantic F-150s, and they're just all just hanging out the windows trying to get a look at some bears and elk or whatever else. And guess what? Those things can, and given the opportunity, will kill you. So, but otherwise, they're gentle creatures if you leave them alone. There's also situations where they've had to deal with animals who get hit by cars, and say it's a mama bear, well, they have to hunt down if she had any kids. They can pretty much sometimes figure out whether she had any little bears, and they've many times take those little bears in, try to put them in an area where they don't imprint on humans, where they kind of can still live like little bears and grow up until a point where they can then release them out into the wild, and you get to see that as well, without any kind of attempt at domesticating them, or trying to make them say, "Oh, look, here comes a man with the bucket of food." They try to make it as their presence as invisible as possible for as long as they can. It comes down to also not just animals and people, but fires. And yes, it doesn't just fire. The forests don't just catch fire out here on the West Coast. They catch fire just about anywhere, whether it's lightning strikes or crappy campers that mess with, that don't put out their fires. Uh, these kind of things happen. But in some cases, in order to prevent bigger fires from happening and getting out of control, they have to create controlled fires, and you get to see that in this as well. How they do that, what they need to do, and how precarious the situation they put themselves in should the wind shift or anything else, and takes it takes the fire out of an area where they want it to be contained. So there's a lot to see here. If you want to learn more about stuff like that, maybe you want to be a park ranger yourself. You like working with animals and wild animals and things like that. Or you got a little one who does. This might be a fun thing to watch. See what it's like to work with these guys in the woods every day. There's some guys. One guy is saying how much he'd do this for free if he could, as long as he had a shelter and food. I don't know if I'd say that out loud to my boss, but on TV, because people are looking for any reason to not pay people for good work. So anyway, I think it was fascinating. It's documentaries aren't everybody's cup of tea, but it was a quick watch, 42 minutes, and I learned a little something. So might be worth checking out for you. If it's your thing, let's check tomorrow's episode.
61.
Finally dropping down pretty low. It must be the B's or C's. 61. It's the B's. And it's a series. Hey, it's not a documentary. And it looks like it would be, a Disney Channel series, probably. I don't know what it is, if it's animated or if it's live action or what. But all I can say, it's bonkers. Bonkers is what we're watching next on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.